Have you ever wondered why a single critical look from a colleague can just completely derail your whole day? Or why you hear yourself agreeing to something you have zero interest in doing? You probably call it people-pleasing, right? But what if I told you it's not some flaw in your personality? It's actually a deep-seated biological survival script, a high-stakes program your brain is running 24/7. So let's pull back the curtain on the fascinating and, yeah, often frustrating science of why we seek approval.
Let that one really sink in for a second. This isn't about wanting a pat on the back. It's about your brain desperately trying to stop a perceived threat, to numb what it registers as real pain. And that, right there, is the central paradox we're going to unravel today. The more you look outside yourself for validation, the more you actually weaken your brain's ability to generate that feeling on its own.
So, let's start with a diagnosis. What does this constant hunt for approval actually feel like in our day-to-day lives? What's the lived experience of having this survival script running in the background? We can understand it best through a really powerful metaphor, the external battery problem.
I want you to take a second and really ask yourself this. Does your mood, your sense of self, that feeling of being okay, does it feel like it needs to be plugged into an external power source? A source like a compliment from your boss, a like on your latest post, or even just the absence of a critical look from a friend? Does your internal weather just completely change based on someone else's forecast? This slide just lays it out perfectly, the two states we can live in. Over on the left, you've got the external locus of control. That's our external battery. This is where your mood skyrockets with praise and then absolute plummets with a cold text or even just a neutral look. Your self-worth is so volatile because someone else can pull the plug at any moment. But on the right, that's the goal, an internal locus of control. Think of it like a self-charging battery, one that provides a stable internal sense of worth no matter what the weather is like outside.
So living with that external battery, it forces you into this exhausting state of relational hypervigilance. And it's not just being aware of other people, it's a full-time job. It means you walk into a room and you're not just seeing people, you are scanning them. Your brain is running this constant, high-speed social math, analyzing micro-expressions, shifts in tone, the way someone is angled. And it's all for one reason, to detect any potential threat to your connection, to your power source.
And the cost of all that constant scanning is immense. There's a psychological concept for it, called ego depletion. You're so busy managing everyone else's potential reactions, performing a version of yourself you think they'll approve of, that by the end of the day, there is simply no energy left for you. You spend every single ounce of your mental bandwidth on this performance, leaving none to check in with what you truly think, feel, or need. You kind of become a stranger to yourself.
And this leads us to the core fear that's driving all of this, signal anxiety. Your amygdala, which is basically your brain's little alarm system, it starts to misfire. It loses the ability to tell the difference between a real social threat, like being cast out of the tribe thousands of years ago, and a modern perceived one. So a moment of silence in a conversation, a text without an emoji, a neutral look from a colleague, your brain flags all of these as mortal threats, and it triggers this powerful primal fear response.
So, how does this anxiety lock us into a cycle that just keeps repeating itself? Well, that's where we get to the blueprint of the trap itself. This isn't random. It's a predictable 5-step system called the performance validation loop. And here's the good news. Once you can see the design of the trap, you can start to find your way out.
Okay, let's walk through this brilliant and, devastatingly effective loop. Step 1. A threat is perceived. It could be a tiny moment of disagreement, what's called a social gap. Step 2. You immediately go into hypervigilant scanning, trying to figure out what the other person is thinking, and you usually assume the worst. Step 3. The compliance routine kicks in. This is also known as fawning. You might over-explain, or apologize for no reason, or just agree to something you don't believe in just to close that gap. Step 4. The validation hit. You get the smile, the nod, your brain is flooded with a hit of dopamine, and that social pain just stops. And here's the most important part. Step 5. Reinforcement. Your brain logs this entire sequence and learns a powerful lesson. Hiding my true self equals survival. And just like that, the loop gets stronger.
This brings up such a crucial reframe. That impulse to please, to agree, to smooth everything over, what we call fawning, it's not a character flaw. It's not a sign of weakness. It's a calculated, even if it's unconscious, transaction. Your brain is basically using compliance as a form of currency to buy social safety and stop that painful feeling of disconnection. It's a strategy, not a pathology. All right, so we've covered what this feels like and the system that runs it. Now let's go deeper into the science, the neurological why. Why is our brain so willing to trade our own integrity for a simple nod of approval? Well, the answer, it turns out, is hardwired right into our survival code.
Okay, this is one of the most staggering findings in modern neuroscience. When you experience social rejection, that feeling of being left out, judged, or disapproved of, a specific part of your brain lights up. It's called the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, or the DACC for short. And here's the incredible part. That is the exact same region that processes the emotional distress of physical pain. So, to your brain, a broken heart can feel just like a broken leg. Disapproval literally physically hurts.
And that biological reality leads to some very, very primitive survival math. It creates this primal logic where authenticity, with its risk of rejection and that very real DAC pain, is seen as a dangerous gamble. So when it's faced with a choice, your brain's #1 priority is keeping you safely inside the tribe. Its default setting is to choose the path that ensures inclusion, even if it means wearing a mask.
So why does the brain choose compliance so often? Well, there are 3 key reasons. First, it reduces cognitive load. It's just easier to follow a social script than to invent your own response in the moment. Second, it avoids conflict. Dealing with disagreement and the potential pain of rejection is metabolically expensive. It burns a ton of mental and emotional energy. Compliance is just the low-energy path. And third, it's an evolutionary holdover from a time when being cast out of the tribe meant almost certain death. Our brains are still running that ancient software.
But here's the profound long-term cost of constantly choosing this survival strategy. Over time, every small act of self-betrayal adds up. You sacrifice your internal self for a social mask, piece by piece. The more you perform for others, the less you know who you are when the audience is gone. And this leads to what we call identity erasure, a state of feeling profoundly disconnected from your own core self. Sound familiar? Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem, we've mapped the blueprint, and we understand the science behind it. Now for the most important part. What can we actually do about it? This next section is all about the toolkit. These are practical, actionable strategies to reclaim your internal locus of control and start forging your own internal compass.
The first tool is so powerful because of its simplicity. It's called the validation fast. Now, the goal here isn't to become some rebel overnight. It's about gently retraining your nervous system to tolerate the absence of external feedback. You're proving to your own brain, in small, manageable doses, that you can survive and even thrive without that immediate hit of validation. And you can start incredibly small with this. For example, choose what you want for lunch without polling the group. Or wear an outfit simply because you like it. You could even state your honest, mild opinion on a movie. But the real key, the micro-practice, is what comes next. After you do it, resist the urge to scan their face for a reaction. Just let your decision exist in the space on its own. All right, let's talk about what to do in the moment. You're in a conversation and you feel it coming on, that hot, prickly, urgent feeling in your chest, the desperate need to over-explain, to apologize, to make everything okay. What do you do with that energy? Before you can do anything about that urge, you have to learn to notice it in your body. This is your somatic signal. Instead of getting lost in the frantic story in your head, they think I'm stupid, I've made them angry, try to drop your awareness down into your physical sensations. Is your chest tight? Is your breathing getting shallow? Do you feel that familiar knot in your stomach? That right there is the raw data of your fear. And the antidote is profoundly simple. Just breathe. Specifically, deep diaphragmatic breathing. When you consciously breathe deep into your belly, you are sending a direct, powerful signal to your nervous system that you are safe. In that moment, you are reconnecting that external battery back to your own body, plugging it into your own internal source of regulation instead of desperately searching for an outlet in the other person's facial expression. And all of this practice leads to a final, and maybe the most powerful, conceptual shift. As you get better at this, your entire perspective on validation can change. You start to understand the profound difference between being a mirror and being a light. Think about it like this. A mirror can only reflect light that's already there. It has no light of its own. Seeking external validation is like standing in front of a mirror and begging it to give you light. It can't. It can only reflect what you project. The goal of this whole journey is to stop being the mirror and to start becoming the light. To cultivate a sense of worth that is generated from within, that is a source, not a reflection. And that's what it all comes down to, isn't it? True, lasting security isn't found in being liked by everyone. It's not found in a chorus of approval. It's found in the quiet moments of self-acceptance. It's built by proving to your own nervous system, one small decision at a time, that your authenticity is not just survivable, but essential. The goal is to be able to stand in a quiet room, by yourself, and feel whole.